1 second. Yep, here we go. All right. We're good. Okay. All right. Thank you. Jesus said, here I stand. Won't you please let me in? And you said, I will tomorrow. Jesus said, I am He who supplies all your needs. And you said, I know, but tomorrow, tomorrow, I'll give my life. Tomorrow, I thought about today. So much easier to say tomorrow. Who promised you tomorrow? Better choose the Lord today. For tomorrow very well might be too late. Jesus said, I stand. It seems to me, and it's a question. You have heard me teach, and you have heard others say they heard me teach. Now, you that desire to question me when you're at home, you are here now. For a while, I'm going to offer you to say, ask me questions on that which you have heard me teach. I can't say on that which you heard my brother say because I just told you some of the brothers is telling others in the truth. So if there's anyone that would like to ask me some questions on what you heard me teach, you are welcome to stand up and ask me. Or anything that you would like to ask me pertaining to the teaching. Yes, brother. We're trying to get some planes in the air with our initial Not for sure, but we want them at work. Yes, sir. Helping us. You will soon see something. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Dear Holy Apostle, from the teachings that I've heard, you said that the moon represents, as it is right now in the first quarter, the original black people. Am I right, sir?
No, this don't say really represent the black man in the stage it's in now, the way you see it. But it represents the sign of the black people. That is here in North America. That is blind, deaf, and dumb, and dead to the knowledge of self. What was once in the knowledge of self.
Yes, sir. My question was, sir, what do the other three quarters represent?
Pardon me, sir?
I was wondering what the other three quarters represented.
What?
He wanted to know what the other three quarters represented.
The other three quarters?
Yes, sir.
It represents stages and our rise into the knowledge of self. Someone else?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Dear Holy Apostle, I'd like to know where is Allah God in the person of Master Farad Muhammad today?
He is where he is.
Greetings. I am your Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad. Welcome to another edition of Muhammad Speaks Radio, where once again, I am your Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad. In the most holy name of Allah, who appeared to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever, we can never thank Allah enough for coming, as it was written that he would come in the person of a man, Master Farad Muhammad, and raising in our midst a divine leader, teacher, and guide in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It is in their great names that I greet you in peace. We say it in Arabic, Assalamu alaikum, which simply means peace be unto you. Once again, I am your brother, your host this evening here on Muhammad Speaks Radio. We thank you for tuning in. Either if you're viewing us on social media, whether it's Facebook Live, Muhammad Speaks Radio page, or YouTube, or also on Instagram Live, we welcome you all. For those who are listening to us on WTMR 800 AM here in the Delaware Valley, and we welcome you as well. And if you're listening to us on WTMRradio.com, we welcome you all. Thank you all for tuning in. And you were just listening to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad doing a question and answer period of the Theology of Time lecture series that was given to us in 1972. My dear brothers and sisters, this is divine wisdom, divine knowledge, and divine understanding. What you were listening to in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, pardon me, that'd be that Lysol that's on the, as we look to disinfect the microphone, sometimes it gets in our throats a little bit, but it's nothing that a little water can't handle. But as I was saying, you were listening to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 1972, which is very relevant. And I know some of you are saying, wait, why are you listening to this man in 1972? What does this have to do with today? You know, how does that affect all of us today? It is most effective for today because this man, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who we have been introducing to this audience for the last 16 years here on WTMR Radio and WTMRradio.com, and since the advent of social media, letting you know the importance of how important the wisdom and the lessons and the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is to a generation that never heard from this great man and his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding and his program that he had the greatest impact of any leader in North America among Black people than any leader because, you know, he had 44 years to show and tell in his leadership. You know, we've had a bunch of leaders in our Black community since we've been here in our Sir John, and you know that our Sir John started off horrific and horrible as we were brought here and robbed of our names, our culture, our religion, and been enslaved and had been enslaved for 400 years. This made us a people who did not have the knowledge of ourselves, who were backward thinking and just in a terrible state of condition. And we had many of our people rise up, and some of them at that time weren't rising up to be leaders. They was just trying to survive in a wicked world and the wicked circumstances that they were in, called slavery, where we were once labeled as three-fifths of a human being in the Constitution of these United States, where we just not only had to fight for civil rights, we had to fight and raise up our dignity for human rights to be recognized as human beings. As dark and ugly as that past is, and some in this country today do not want us to talk about it. They want us to forget about it as if it has never existed before, but we can talk about other people's horrific problems and errors and their history, but they know if they don't give you the okay to talk about it, then you rarely going to talk about it yourself because we like talking about everything that's irrelevant to our struggle, to our existence here, to our future. You know, we want to talk about, you know, Cardi B and you know, and Sean Combs and all of these different things that's really irrelevant and has nothing to do with nothing instead of talking about the things that are relevant in our community. So what we have done here on Muhammad Speaks Radio for the past 16 years that we've been here on our posts, sharing the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad with you because we consider this, as I was mentioning earlier, to be divine wisdom. Divine wisdom never has an expiration date. Just as we've heard the pastors before us talk about their belief in the divinity and the what they believe in Jesus, as you will find the Jewish community speaking about Moses and the belief in what they believe in Moses. Well, we who follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and not only the impact that he has made on us in our lives, but the impact that he has made on Black people in this country in general, and people of color and non-Black people. The impact that he made of those 44 years, as I was stating earlier, that we have many leaders that in our community during the time of the, what we would like to say, quote unquote, civil rights era, or during the civil rights movement. But many of those leaders led to, you know, 2, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad served on and led in the Black community for 44 years. And he was the most impactful leader that we had and ever seen in this country since we've been here on these shores, because he put in the work and stayed consistent for 44 years, beyond the fact of being raised whom we believe by God Himself in the person of Master Farad Muhammad in the 44 years that he did of accomplishing goals and overcoming and the history and the program and the impact that not only he made, but the impact that he made on his students' lives and the impact his students made on the lives of Americans, black, white, red, and brown. And even today, in his absence, since 1975, the impact of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is still being felt in and around the communities. And if we didn't stand up on this radio show and talk about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and talk about the impact that he's made, his history will once again get lost as it has in the past in 1975 when he departed and his history was buried, and they took on another saying, and took on another course of direction that the Nation of Islam went in. And we always ask the question, as we don't have time to talk about that history tonight, are we in a better condition since then? And as you see others creeping up on the program and position and ideology and philosophy and teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, yet not given credit to this man and the impact that he made, because it's too painful to look at yourself. It's too painful to see yourself in the direction or in the manner that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was telling us of who we are, giving us the knowledge of ourselves, teaching us to do for ourselves, teaching us to think for ourselves, teaching us to not follow any leadership around this world. And naturally, this kind of thing, my dear brothers and sisters, is happening regardless, because this wisdom is divine. This wisdom is with the universe. This wisdom is going to happen whether you like it or not. I don't care how much praying we do and how much seance we may do and how much talking we may do. Dear brothers and sisters, it is natural that the day will turn into night and the night will turn into day. It is natural that the human being would have to sleep and then wake up and get rest and go on. It is natural for you and I to drink water. It is natural for you and I to eat food and all the natural things that's going on. It is natural that the original people of this planet who have been on, who are a group, and a peculiar and particular group of people who had been carried from their homeland and brought on a westerly course and buried in a shallow grave that is written of in scriptures, that is foretold by those very wise people who understand this language that Brother Minister is talking, that we were buried. And it took the master's grip for us to get out of that shallow grave that we were in, because once we were here, we were put to death. We were put to death, not physical death, although some of us suffered physical death. And as they say, there's untold in the millions of those who just came over from the Middle Passage that died, let alone those who got hung and died during the 64 hidden years of slavery, and those who died and got their foot cut off and head cut off, and all kind of extremities happened to them during the 400 years. I said 400. I didn't say 400 days. I didn't say 40 years. I said 400 years we were subjugated to this kind of treatment. But yet, look at us. It was the awakening, as every group of nation of people who have been on this planet that was subjugated to a particular people who were put in a terrible state of condition, that they all had an awakening. And that awakening here in Black America happened under the time of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. My dear brothers and sisters, this, once again, if you just tuning in, I am your brother, Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad, your host this evening here on Muhammad Speaks Radio. And because we are, everybody has education in school, the college students are going back to school, our young people who are in elementary and middle and high school are going back to school all and around this country. In some areas of this country and state, some of our people have already went back to school, and including here in Camden City. But we're going to talk a little bit this evening about the importance of education, as I believe I just have gave you an education that you won't hear anywhere, called the history and knowledge and wisdom of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and talk about the impact that he made in and among our people here for 44 years that of this country, that so much can be said and told about that. But before I go any further and take our break to give you an opportunity to call someone and let them know that Muhammad Speaks Radio is on the air, I want to thank the wonderful brothers and sisters of Muhammad's Temple of Islam number 20 here in Camden. We're located at 1157 Haddon Avenue in Camden, New Jersey. You can go to temple20.org to learn more of what you can do to assist us and help us, or if you want to learn more, once again, go to temple20.org. Then also, I would be just negligent in my duty if I don't mention the wonderful brothers and sisters of Crow. Crow is the coalition for the remembrance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and they are the archives, the national archives of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the Nation of Islam. Yes, we have an archives because as we experience what we experienced in 1975, these group of brothers and sisters, in particular the three co-founders, Brother Shaheed Muslim, Brother Halif Muhammad, and of course, Brother late and great Brother Munir Muhammad, took it upon their shoulders to make sure that this history, along with others, and the help of their wives and their family members and those who were friends and sympathizers, they went to work to make sure that this history never ever happened again, or what happened in 1975 upon the departure of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, when they buried his history, his legacy, and took attempt to destroy his legacy. But something that is natural as drinking water, that's what I'm talking about, the divine divinity of it, that when it's in line with the creative force of the universe, which we call God, Allah, or the creator, when everything is in line, or just the original man and original people that came with the God that came and made himself. If we talk again and we talk about that, then this divine action that we see happening in our community, brothers and sisters, is real. I know many of us was put into a fantasy of what divinity is. And you somewhat got it right, because as you heard the Honorable Elijah Muhammad talk to us in the opening clip that we played for you, my dear brothers and sisters, you'll hear from him again. You'll understand the reality of what he taught us and how it impacts the Black community, that whether you like it or not, that Black people is going to be awakened. And as other peoples have been awakening, that there's no stop to this awakening. Either we're going to be with it or against it. Either we're going to die in an attempt of not listening and acknowledging what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, or we're going to go down with the world that is on its way out, and this new world that is coming in, as he was describing the stages of development of what the moon means and why that is in the flag of Islam. No, we are not moon worshipers. It is our fathers who put the moon up there in the sky. It was our fathers who created everything. So we don't worship what we created. We get the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of why it's there, so we can understand ourselves, because everything that comes from the original people has a spiritual and physical ramification to it. So the moon, in that question the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was answering in that open clip of the gentleman was asking him, what does the stages of the moon mean? And he said that is the stages of development of the original man here. Now that's what he said, here in North America, and that we are seeing. Our people are coming alive today. We're waking up to the knowledge of self. We're returning to our own thinking, our own ideas, our own people's names, and we're giving up the names that were imposed upon us that represent other people's culture. That is the awakening. We're coming back to our natural selves. Islam is becoming very popular in the black community, although there is attempts for people outside of this country who are just, I would say, want them, they want to be recognized as the people of Islam. But, it was our fathers that gave them that. But all we have to do is accept our own and be ourselves. And brothers and sisters, everything will take its course. So we're going to take a quick break, my dear brothers and sisters, and come back and talk a little more about the importance of education, why it's necessary to learn about the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, what we can do to put things in place to better educate our children, because you may be afraid or just stuck in your own kind of ways. But please, brothers and sisters, open up the minds of our young people. Give them that which we saw in those 44 years of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad reign among us, that when he began to teach our people and teach and tell his ministers to tell the peoples in the community about themselves, give them the knowledge of themselves, tell them who they are, tell them who others are. When he did that, we seen an awakening in the black community. And this, what we see today in our communities, that things seems to be at a standstill. The attack politically against black communities, as we see it around in Washington, D.C., and on its way to other cities. And they're talking about Chicago being the nexus city. These things, we must take an avid look of history, my dear brothers and sisters, and see where roads we went wrong, or see what we didn't do, what we did then that worked for our people then, and what need to work now. With all this money and education that black people have access to, my dear brothers and sisters, the one thing we need is unity of the 22 million, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad pointed out in his book, Message to the Black Man. So we're going to take a quick break, my dear brothers and sisters, and we'll be right back. But before I go, let me thank my dear Brother Mandine Muhammad, host of Crow TV, for doing a wonderful job in hosting Muhammad Speaks Radio this past week. Brother Mandine did a wonderful job along with his guests. I mean, I was just so proud that we were able to use this technology, although we had somewhat of a little glitch, that is, and that's why we came on late today. The glitch didn't have anything to do with them. It has something to do with us here on this side. And although I was unable to be there out working on behalf of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam and this work in Temple number 20, as we were working to get things back in order here in this city and around South Jersey, Camden County, South Jersey, and the Delaware Valley. Brother Mandine stepped in and did a wonderful job. So I want to publicly thank him for that. And we look forward to working more with our dear brothers and sisters of Crow, the Coalition for the Remembrance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So we're going to take a quick break, my dear brothers and sisters, and we'll be right back.
Anyone else?
Hey, salam alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
The Holy Apostle, I'd like to know where is Allah God in the person of Master Farad Muhammad today?
He is where he is.
Four 15.
Salam alaikum.
And assalamu alaikum, my dear brothers and sisters. We are back, and I think that explanation is good enough for those who wonder such questions, I think that answer is more than what it is. It's not us being a smart aleck, and it's definitely not the messenger who was the wisest man, whom and we believe besides God Himself. And I would say that there's a lot of wisdom in that, where people who would say, "Where is God?" and give their explanation of where God is at and where our Savior is at and all those things. And as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, He is where He's going to be at and where He is. And so I think that put an end to all of that conversation, that I feel that we should put more emphasis on the program and position of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because our people need guidance. And although the teachings is and should be our foremost things, awakening our people with the word, because it is the word that gets in our people's ear that awakens them. However, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in his leadership showed us the word and action, and putting those things to actions. And I want to also thank my dear brother Khalil, for visiting us this past Sunday from out of the great city of Philadelphia, right there across the bridge, who is a good dear brother who's on, I would say, is a soldier. And those who follow and those who are brothers and sisters that are with them, who's doing a lot of work in Philadelphia, things that you don't see. But they don't get a lot of credit for what they do, but they're working, and they have a brotherhood and a strong group of individuals that study and work hard and try to unite and connect and do a great work in their town. And we're so very happy that we have the opportunity to share brotherhood with these brothers, as we know we're going into a day and hour where the brotherhood is going to be the striving force of the importance of it. It will be a reminder to all of us to in this day and hour and time. So as we see that our enemies, the hypocrites, the disbelievers, and those in politics coming after, any black leader or any black person, any black ideology that's out there that's different, that can inspire black people. As has been written, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to his ministers that, yet you may come under attack, so don't get afraid and don't get weary. And remember what he said, all of you are ministers, your brothers and sisters. Once you start write your letter and reclaim your own, that you should start teaching our people, but you may not be the minister in the at the temple or mosque, but you should go out and you should be propagating this religion, trying to wake our people up and to be able to study the words and wisdom of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, of how to wear this beautiful pin that we see on my lapel jacket, on my jacket right here, uh, that we should awaken people, at least try to get four, but that don't stops there, but at least try to get four of our people who has the mind of our enemy, has the destructive mind of a Negro, and awaken them up to the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that we can move forward. My dear brothers and sisters, once again, if you're just tuning in, I'm your brother, Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad. If you'd like to call in, I don't think I gave the call in number, 856-962-8178. That's 856-962-8178 or 856-962-8179. Please call in with questions and comments and or concerns. But tomorrow, the University of Islam school year 2025-2026 open here at 1157 Haddon Avenue, Camden, New Jersey. And I am super excited about this school year. I'm so excited about every school year that we, the followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, number 20 in Camden, that we have understood what is our duty and what is the job and duty of the civilized man, that when we opened up the University of Islam, number 20, here in Camden, some, I believe it might be 14, 15 years ago. If I'm not correct on that date, please someone help me out. But I just want to say I'm excited, and I think that's one of the best things that we could have done is to show our community and show us and prove what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us about his program, that when we work it, that when we do it, when we get out and make sacrifice and we believe, because he said, what holds temples back and mosques back is because the people are not really believers, he said, that they really don't believe in what he taught and the power of Master Farad Muhammad, Allah in person, that in protecting and in providing for us, that if we rely on him and be obedient to his will, and his will is the resurrection of the dead, that we serve our people, not just be there to see what we can get from our people, what we can take out of our people, out of their hands, what we can what they have to, just to give them a kind word. But our people need guidance, and the greatest guidance is the program of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which is after you or and I should open up a place where people can come and learn all about themselves. That once we gather people together, we must, we have no time to waste, even especially in today's society, gather up our young people and their brothers and sisters and teach them the truth. Train them in the way that they should go. Give them the tools that they need, to young men up until the age 18, 16, and the young women up until the age of 18. And that, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, then they will be able to go anywhere and survive because they have a base in knowledge and understanding of themselves. They have the confidence for themselves to go anywhere and among any civilized people and survive and thrive while being themselves. They don't have to, not be themselves. They won't look down on the brother and sisters that's in the mud of our community. They won't look down on them because in the program of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we teach the gospel of loving ourselves. We teach the gospel of doing for ourselves. We teach Black people to love Black people. We teach Black people to love themselves first before we can love anybody. We gather together and show Black people that we can come together as a group of people and function and survive and thrive, with Black leadership, with, being humble to each other and being respectful to each other, something that is very hard for us to do. And I'm not saying that's not hard for us to do. And that's why, we've always needed taskmasters since we've been here in America, while we had taskmasters to whip us into shape. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's program has seemed to be very shrewd to someone. They couldn't wait to get away from up under what some considered, quote unquote, that tightrope of the messengers program, so they can get out here and just be a Muslim and without striving for self. How did that How did that make out for us? Okay. And now you want to go back and reverse and talk about Messenger Elijah Muhammad's or bring up his program, but yet give it your own name and ideology on it. But no, but those of us who've been around and are avid students of history know that all of what you're asking for today came out of the program of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he didn't just talk about the program, he demonstrated it for us. And that's why I bring up those 44 years, because we have black leaders. They didn't have that kind of time among us. If they were among us around in our leadership for that period of time, then they were, doing something else. Maybe some of them were doing like the great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King said before untimely his untimely death of being assassinated, that in which he said he thought he could have probably have made a mistake in the words that the late and great Harry Belafonte stated, that Dr. King said to him that he felt as though he was integrating our people into a burning house. And that's what many of the longevity people were doing. And because this generation don't know about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings and program, and because he's been somewhat omitted out of our history, and some of our scholars and leaders won't teach his history in its proper context, then his ideology of what he was saying to those who were gaining just civil rights and looking for gains in civil rights are what some of those things would do for us if we did not do something for ourselves. And if we should have been fighting for anything, we should have been fighting for human rights. And all we had to do, we didn't have to ask no one for human rights, brothers and sisters. All we had to do is stand up with our own dignity by our sides and do for ourselves as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad led by example, and that would make others respect you when you had dignity and among yourselves, because you wanted to feed, clothe, and shelter and educate yourself. So I'm excited, brothers and sisters, about tomorrow having another year of opening up the University of Islam number 20 here in Camden. We have the awesome ability that when you come together in group operations under the guidance of divine wisdom and teachings and program and position of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that we are able today, to hire some of the young people whom we had in our University of Islam, that we educated during the past 15 or 16 years that we've been back on our posts and in this school, that we've had the opportunity to now bring those young people on and following the program and position and teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that he's told our young people to go out and get an education and get it well, but take that education and come back and give it to yourself and to your kind. And we are not just telling you that. We know that our people need guidance. We have shown you that, and we are now, by Allah's permission and beauty, be able to demonstrate that for you, because we this year have just now hired two of our former graduates. I believe they graduated the same year too as well. Two of our former graduates of the University of Islam, number 20 here in Camden, Sister Anissa and Brother Hafiz, who's already employed by the temple's properties and businesses at the child care center, but now he's moving up with more duties in the University of Islam with some of our students that's coming back. I'm excited. We have two seniors. We didn't have any seniors to graduate last year. Our last graduating class, I believe, was 2024. Our dear sister Hassana Muhammad, who is now currently a student at North Carolina A&T as an engineering major, as well as Sister Wasima Muhammad, my namesake, who's graduated in 2024, who now works for the university, for our child care center. It has a work study program along with our directors, Sister Shabri Muhammad, which now we would give her another title because the director has moved up to one of our teachers, and our head teachers have moved up to another title, and Sister Shabri is moving up to another title because we're getting into other economic programs here at Temple Number 20 by Allah's grace. Other things that we are getting into, that we need some of our people to take on other duties. So I'm excited to have Brother Hafiz and Sister Anissa, and we welcome them back, Sister Tajane, who is the wife of our dear Brother Hadar Muhammad, and who's done a fine job here in the city of Camden, along with Brother Kadir Muhammad. The work that they're doing and the impact that they're making with people here in the city of Camden is just speaks volumes of what, when we are allowed to, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us in point number 9, and what the Muslims believe and what the Muslims want. And point number 9, that he said about our educational, to be able to educate our own children with our own teachers that look like them, and to be able to say to, he said to them and to the world, that he believed he would make this program would make a better citizen, and in so many words, and you'll see the difference of what it makes, and you see that with our young people and the impact that we make on them. So I'm just excited, brothers and sisters. I don't even know what to do. How I don't just, I just get excited this time of year of being, the impact that coming together of our people that we make in providing a future to our young people, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, to help to give them a future they have not yet to live, and we're in that and pretty excited by that. So I'm just, I don't know what to say. What say you? Give us a call, 856-962-8178, 856-962-8179, and it's important, brothers and sisters, and the foundation that we give to our young people. I know even in the public school systems that are beginning school shortly here, I believe tomorrow or even one day this week, or Thursday. I'm not sure when they start, but I know the school district here in the city of Camden is going through some leadership changes and some, budgetary crisis, like many other school districts across this state and nation. But I believe, with the leadership of the people and the citizens here in the city of Camden, and particularly the board president Nnamdi Nelson, and those wonderful board members, as well as the interim superintendent, that they're going to do a wonderful job once they get a handle on this, taking the Rams from a $97 million deficit, almost $100 million deficit. Is no joke, but our young people, we have to invest in them. And although we have the University of Islam here in the city of Camden, and I know that our children, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us to do for self and take the responsibility for self and lead by example, which I think that we have been doing here in the city of Camden for the past 17 years. But we are very concerned about our young people's education here in the city of Camden, because this is the community that we live in. This is the community that we are part of. So we want to make sure that our young people are able in our communities, that our children hang around, play football and basketball with, walk to the corner store, are in a position where they can get a proper education and do what we can do, as we've served on many boards, and we do our due diligence of our civic duties to make sure that we do our part, but never forgetting our foundation, which is the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, what gives us the ability to lead by example, to show and tell what we can do when we follow a divine program of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So therefore, you should listen to us. So, I know it was at attempts of others to remove Brother Minister from his seat. And, that's okay. That's behind us. And I'm not bringing it up, but I'm bringing it up not to brag on Brother Minister. I'm bringing it up to brag on the guidance and protection of Almighty God, Allah, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad that allowed us to still survive, as we have said in our teachings that we're surviving. And dear brothers and sisters, I think we have a caller as we winding down on this time. I think we have a caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Assalamu alaikum, it's Sister Shabri Muhammad.
Wa alaikum salam, Sister Shabri. Thanks for calling in.
No problem, Brother Master. I just wanted to say I'm so excited about this new school year at the University of Islam, number 20 here in Camden, New Jersey. I'm excited about how our alumni have come back with their talent to serve their community and give their talent to the new generation coming up in the University of Islam. And tomorrow's going to be an exciting day, and we hope everyone shows up 8 o'clock tomorrow to cheer on our new students in their first day of school.
Oh, praises due to Allah. And Sister Shabri, I want to thank you publicly, as always, for being diligent in our community and educating our young people. I know some roles are about to change there because we're taking on other that's me, brother. I get that. Um, we're taking on other, adding on more responsibilities. And I know Sister Catherine Muhammad is not necessarily coming out of the classroom because once a teacher, always a teacher, but taking on other duties, allowing you to do other things for the corporation structure of our organization to survive and thrive as we are embarking on other programs as by Allah's permission. And you want to talk a little bit about that and talk a little bit about the teachers that's coming on.
Yes, sir. Well, as we grow and expand, we make room for, to give more back to the community. And we've been doing that consistently. This is a new year, new opportunities. However, University of Islam number 20, we have been consistent with that in the last 14 years. And our new students pardon me, our new educators, our new teachers who are alumni, as I say that once again, I'm so proud to say that. We both graduated in the class of 2018 from the University of Islam, one sister, one brother. So now we add another male figure on to it for our young men, which is missing a lot in the educational system everywhere, really. And it's such an imperative part of the educational system for young men to be able to see a young man or a man in general, to be able to be guided. The sisters do a wonderful job, and we always appreciate having mother, having sisters, having teachers. However, men and young boys need to see other men in their day-to-day educational series.
What let's put a quarter in that meter, Sister Shabri, because that's important, and I think we need to talk about that as other school types struggle to get men, in particular black men, especially in the black community. Especially, I don't know what the statistics are of, what they say that black men are missing in the homes of black boys. And we see that in our communities with, the behavior of our communities, that man presence is missing, and whatever man presence is left, we know the enemy is going to try to emasculate that part because they don't want us to have nothing, and as a man looking up to in the black community, and the only men they want us looking to is with a Negro who may be walking around with his pants hanging down and hair looking crazy and all of those kind of things. And not to say that Negro who's walking with his pants down, hair looking crazy, isn't my brother, but you and I know, and I'm saying this to the audience, what image that our young black men and boys need in front of them. And, instead of us tearing each other down and working along with the enemy to tear, black men down, we're working it up. And before have you say, would say you about that issue, I just want to talk. It made me think about something. But go ahead, Sister Shabri, go ahead and talk. I'll bring it up a little later, but go ahead.
Yes, sir. I'll just say real quickly, we do have male influences at the University of Islam. This is just our first year with a teacher, so it's not just consistent. It's daily, and it's daily. It's more hours. It's more time that our young boys or our young brothers have with that male figure, and it's so important for them to have guidance. We can't the country can't determine what goes on in a household, so they're trying to combat that by having male teachers in the school because it's so important for them to have a civilized um, person who gives them structure and accountability, and that's the leadership of the male figure. So that everyone is campaigning now to try and encourage black men to enter into the educational system because they aren't in the home, and everyone has to get it from somewhere. And at the University of Islam, we just make sure that we keep up with the teachers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and that everything in nature will fall into place. But we have to make sure that we are bringing these young people up because the young men that we have, they are ours. They're homegrown. We have three men in our schools now. And not just the three, but we have to include you, Brother Minister, as an administrator. So on every level, they have young men, they have an older man, they get to they see them in suits and ties every day. They see them civilized, they see them polished. They see a representative of what a serious um, black male figure should be on a regular basis. And not to say that there aren't times for gym clothes and athletic gear and that kind of thing. Our brothers all play sports. Our teachers have played sports. Um, they're into that as far as the health benefits and the organization of sports.
Yes.
However, the civilization of going in and out of work, of school every day, the practice of being held accountable, leadership skills, training. Our brothers now get to get that from other black men. And it's a wonderful thing.
Yes, ma'am. And with that said, Sister Shabri, let's talk about our two seniors this year that's going to graduate, Brother Halim Muhammad and Brother Wasi Muhammad. And I know you speaking about athletics. These two young men are very athletically inclined. That they are some of them dual or some of them triple. Sport athletes in basketball and track and field and all those kind of things. But they're into their football season and they're pretty. They're okay, football players, but they're great individuals. They're learning the knowledge of themselves. They are coming into adulthood. They're showing maturity. What say you about these two individuals that's going to be our seniors this year? That's going to look like leadership in the classroom and beyond, even on their prowess in playing football.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm going to continue to highlight the University of Islam because this is the school that our messenger gave us. These are our first two young brothers that have never been to public school. These are our first brothers who have never been to public school, and they are graduating this year from the University of Islam. They have taken part in all of the activities throughout the city. They have volunteered. They have done community outreach. They play sports. They're likely to be scholarship students, and they have really proven themselves in this city. They're well known in the city, and again, they are homegrown students. These are not students who moved in where someone else laid the foundation. These brothers and their parents are from the city, are from the community, and have guided them along the way. So we are so lucky And we are so grateful to see what the University of Islam can do to students from pre-K all the way up to senior year. They have not missed out on anything. We had so many naysayers when we first opened. Aren't you afraid? What is this? Do you have this? How are you going to be able to teach them this? The same way the messengers show us how to raise our people up in this community, we have done it. We've shown it. And these brothers make us so proud because they are going out in this world with so much more than what some of their counterparts may be missing. And they're able to give and share their experiences. We're very, very proud of them.
Yes, ma'am. All praises due to Allah. Sister Shabri, look like we're running down on time, and I thank you for calling in and letting us talk to you for a moment. I know you're preparing for tomorrow there on Haddon Avenue, where we're just excited when our parents come in and we show our young people, like all school types here in the city of Camden, want to make education exciting. But what's exciting is the program and position of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, where our young children learn the knowledge of themselves and they learn the knowledge of others. They get the discipline, they get the small classroom sizes, they get all what they need to survive and thrive, and some of the attention that they need, that we always say that no child fails. Every child has a gift. Every child has a purpose. They have to learn their purpose, and all we have to do is dig it out of them, like digging for gold, because what they have to give is like giving the gold. The value of gold is to this world. And I think when we develop the whole child and say that no child's failed, I don't care, because every child is not going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a scientist, but those children that can work with their hands, those children that have skills, those children that have spiritual um, um, a spiritual foundation to them. All of that, dear brothers and sisters, is what's missing because of the attack. I know we can't do that in some of our public institutions, is to give them the spiritual part of what they need, but we reinforce what parents would like their children to be, because we have non-Muslim students that go to our school, but all of us are joined together at the hip, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, that we are a community and should be a community of people that enjoying good and forbid evils. I want to say that again. Enjoying good and forbid evil. That when you plot on other people and your goal is to take other people down, then you'll be a community, but you'll be could be a community that's going nowhere fast. You're making no impact in your community. You're doing nothing with even the children that's growing up in your community, because you're not enjoining good and forbidding evil. You're working against your own Muslim brother. And I want to close saying this. I was going to mention earlier how I was just excited. I ran into a brother today that I haven't seen. He was a business owner who's across the street from the University of Islam and Muhammad's Temple of Islam, number 20 on Haddon Avenue. His original origin of country is from Egypt, and he is a Muslim. And when he saw me, it kind of reminded me of this time last year where he came to me and pulled me to the side and said, we know the controversy of last school year with Brother Minister. However, there were people in the community, some Muslims in the community, and some people that don't got what Black Power people, these Negroes, right? So, you know, he reminded me, as we talked about, that he told them they wanted him to put a sign up telling me to resign from my post as a board member. And Sister Shabri, this brother told me, and he told them, he's an Egyptian, right? He said, Brother Minister Wasim Muhammad is my Muslim brother. There's no way I can do that to my Muslim brother. Wow. And that's why we got a lot of work to do when it comes to Islam that we have not seen the Brotherhood of Islam interact with ourselves and people since the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or those students of his who tried to attempt. But if you claim to be a student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or one of his ministers, brothers and sisters, as Muslims, we do not attack other Muslims in the public. Huh? That's not what we do. It took a foreign, let's say foreign, he might be an American citizen now, but his origin is from Egypt. It took a brother from another culture that they grew up with the culture of Islam, so their principles are engraved in them even when they're here in this country. Some their principles don't be engraved in them when it comes to making a dollar, because they'll sell and do anything to you and me. But yet you call them the real Muslims, but you call brother minister Wasim Muhammad, he ain't real nothing, right? But this brother said brother Wasim is my Muslim brother, and he refused to do that. And do you know, we walked up in that school board meeting and looked at Muslims that look like you and I, who share their same experience with you and I, and yet acted like niggas on steroids. I think we should end on that note there. It's just a note. I'm not bringing it up because I'm stuck in the past. I'm bringing it up. I think you should get out of being stuck on zero and get up and do something for yourself and think for self and reevaluate yourself and do better. But you cannot repent to something that you did that was wrong until, or you cannot be forgiven, pardon me, for something that you did, you and I, that may have done, and all of us, we cannot be forgiven for things that we have done wrong in the past until we repent to those things that we have done. Brothers and sisters, this is my time. And as I always say to you, thank you all for listening on behalf of myself and dear Sister Shabri, who called in, and the members of Temple of Islam number 20, and our teachers of the University of Islam, and those who are part of Sister Niamet Abdullah, Sister Catherine Muhammad, Sister Tajane Muhammad, Sister Anisa Muhammad, and Brother Hafiz Muhammad. On behalf of all of those wonderful brothers and Sister Nora Muhammad, who's the coordinator of our community, I say to you all, as we always say, love your black self and love your black kind. I greet you as I came to you with the greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Allah, that this word will be multiplied into their house. Yes, sir. To cover the 30 or more billion people of us. Yes, sir. Here in America. Yes, sir. We are happy to say to them that listen for those few minutes that we are your brother and your sister, and that we want you in this cycle of safety from a Savior that is willing to save you and me. Thank the Master, God Muhammad, Almighty God, for coming to save you and me. And the word that you have heard of him, please take them to heart. Go wherever you may go, and tell others of your kind that the
think I have arrived.
God come to destroy unrighteousness and to set up righteousness. We have been lost from our home for now a little over 400 years. We are now trying to find the way home. Yes, sir. But when we read the history of our forefathers coming into America, well, not say coming into America, they never would have been here if it had been left to them. Since they was brought here by force of those who wish to commercialize on their labor. That's right. Why not you tell them, I was not here until you brought me here. That's right. Now, if I am a burden to you, why not take me back where I came from?
We find the history of the Nation of Islam coming only a generation after the emancipation of enslaved blacks in America. In spite of so-called freedom, Southern blacks were greatly relegated to sharecropping, which in many respects is slavery by another name. Elijah Muhammad, named Elijah Poole at birth, was born in October of 1897 in Sandersville, Georgia. Since black births were not recorded in the vital records, he did not have a certificate of his actual birth date. He only knew he was born in October. Elijah was born to sharecropping parents, and his grandparents were themselves former slaves. As it was common for the time, he left school in what would have been considered early elementary so that he could support the family, working in the fields. In his early adulthood, he married Clara Evans, and like many blacks, they migrated to Detroit, fleeing the South for better opportunities. This journey from the South to the West, Midwest, and Northern U.S. is known as the Great Northern Migration. Unfortunately, instead of finding better opportunities, the Great Depression of the 30s sidetracked industry and employment. While white men found themselves in the unemployment and bread lines, blacks were in despair and extreme poverty, amplified severely by prejudice and racism. It was at this time, at the height of desperation and anguish, that Elijah Poole met a curious stranger, Master W.F. Muhammad, who founded the Nation of Islam in 1930. He was teaching blacks in Detroit the history of their people and that their true way of life is Islam, which means peace. He taught them that they were mentally and morally dead after the horrors of American slavery had stripped them of their identity, self-love, and self-respect. He taught them that self-reliance, not dependency on white America, was the answer to their problems, and he taught that the key to their success was unity. He taught that blacks did not have a true knowledge of themselves or others, and that the hiding of this truth is what kept them in a cage of ignorance. Whereas groups like the NAACP promoted integration, the teachings of Master Farad Muhammad promoted separation, and paramount was the doctrine of do for self. Elijah accepted this teaching after his meeting Master Farad Muhammad in 1931 and became the chief minister. That year, he was taken aside and taught for 3 1/3 years, face to face, and as he said, he was given everything required to resurrect his people from mental death and free them from dependency and the illness of self-hatred. He was given the name Elijah Kareem and later Elijah Muhammad by Master Farad Muhammad, who subsequently disappeared mysteriously. The federal government immediately commenced to harassing the Muslims, intimidating visitors to the Muslim meetings, and infiltrating the mosque with agents and implants. Despite the persecution by the FBI and local authorities, the teachings shared by Elijah Muhammad began taking root in the black community. Pride and dignity and a desire to be independent of the shackles of dependency and want spread through America. A people who called themselves Negro and colored began calling themselves black. They began loving their blackness as a virtue, wherein once it was deemed a curse. The Muslims became popular among their people and demonstrated how, through unity, love, and self-reliance, we can be restored from ignorance and neediness to discipline, respect, and self-sufficiency. The black community saw the Muslims as producers, and under the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they witnessed an explosion of industry and commerce. Examples include the food markets, such as your supermarket, Guarantee Bank and Trust, the Muhammad Speaks newspaper and printing press, restaurants, clothiers, farms, and many other industries. The teachings changed the condition of black people. Of the many accomplishments of the Nation of Islam, the educational institution, the University of Islam, was among the finest. The first principal was his wife, Sister Clara Muhammad, and despite imprisonment and persecution for educating Muslim children in Muslim schools, the believers of the Nation of Islam persisted, and the educational system blossomed to over 40 schools throughout the nation. In no time, Messenger Elijah Muhammad was submitting ads in the Muhammad Speaks newspaper, searching for teachers to meet the needs of a growing school system. Prestigious journalists from the U.S., Japan, China, and other nations sought interviews with Messenger Elijah Muhammad to learn more about his work with black people in America. Prominent black leaders were attracted and inspired by the teachings, and Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. visited with the messenger on several occasions. Others who were inspired included black entertainers and athletes. Muhammad Ali, formerly Cassius Clay, accepted Islam as taught by the messenger. He was one of the many of the messenger's prolific ministers, and his popularity as a successful boxer was enhanced when he gained a knowledge of himself and his people. He was both hated and loved for his acceptance of Islam and ridding himself